What's up, Tricology family? Welcome back to another episode of the Tricology News Talk. And today we have a couple of updates and announcements in regards to major film productions getting delayed till 2021, the new rules regarding the next year's Oscars, and also Universal movies getting banned from AMC and Regal. But before we get into those topics, let me welcome back my personal friend, filmmaker, and he's been on here a couple times, so he's gonna be with me so we can discuss everything that's going on with these updates and announcements. Everyone, please welcome back Donaze Keys. Donaze, welcome back.
What is up, guys? Man, just got done shooting my podcast as well, and kind of was like, boy, I was iffy about all this pandemic stuff, having to revisit some of it. But hey, here we go again, right?
And in case you guys know, Donaze does have his own podcast. It's called All About the Millennials. I'll have that in the description below, so you can just check out the links. It will be on YouTube, Spotify, and other podcast apps that you can check out.
Fridays at 5 PST, 8 p.m. EST. Check me out, and let's get this party started.
All right. Without further than that, let's get straight into it. As you know, ever since the pandemic started in March, all major productions have delayed or canceled their upcoming movies that's supposed to come out within the next future dates or so. So, it was yesterday or Sunday or so, we received news that studio executives are pulling the plug on saying we will not resume all major productions until 2021. So my opinion on that is that I sort of agree with their statement, but I do have some few points towards that decision. But first point that is that I kind of agree, because it comes to a certain point, like when the pandemic when the pandemic is over, then it's kind of hard to go back to the reality that we used to do, like go into productions, doing everything that we love to do. But it would be kind of hard to try to recover from it going on. So it would take a lot of setbacks of trying to do maybe say kissing scenes or fighting scenes, or just having certain reactions, and working with not only cast but also crew members as well, and being worked with a lot of large environments and stuff like that. So, Donaze, what is your opinion on thoughts of major productions being canceled or not resume filming until 2021?
So we touched on this on mine, and the big thing is having all the background, all your production assistants, all your audience for any and all content. That alone adds a good 100 to 300 people on set. But however, those 100 to 300 people are so essential to making sure production runs smooth. And then out here in Southern California, I'm going to give you a couple of updates. One which you know from being involved with the sports world, with the NBA going to try and force out, because they would have been in the playoffs right now. However, they're going to try and force those out, pandemic pending, by Labor Day weekend, because that's the only way they're going to salvage. So wherever the 16 seeds were going into the pandemic, who were in that top 16, those are your playoff seeds. Depending on when we're out of this pandemic, or relatively just able for them to knock out 15 games, hopefully by August, which is relatively right now the time frame of when this is all going to be set in. Right now, we're in June for any and all.
June coming up. Yep.
Yeah, June right now, because with all the pandemic and stay-home orders, we're looking at Mother's Day. However, I talked with my director at the dance studio I do teach at in Palmdale, California, so Lancaster area, and she legit told me, "Oh yeah, we're going to stay shut down because of the city, possibly until August is when we could go back in-house." And lo and behold, like, the studio itself can hold up to 50. So you're thinking, to get back to topic at hand, that's August. And you're looking at like 50, 60, 50 to 100 people in one venue. And yet you're saying studio productions for even not even a film, a multi-million-dollar film with stunt crews and having to have EMTs for said stunts. I'm talking just traditional sitcom and TV and game shows. And then you add in the element of, oh crap, I gotta stage a fight scene in something that, for all intents and purposes, should be under a real high alert in normal circumstances without pandemic properties. It's crazy. So the fact that stuff is not going to be out till 2021, or production's not going to continue, it makes sense because you're going to be cramming so much from March, the last 5 months, trying to confirm stuff from 4 months in the 4 months to basically meet and be released by Oscar nomination season, which is December. Do you think that's possible? No. Especially when you have a lot of money on the line and having to respect the crafts, not just trying to force it out like a simple stunt. 2020 has been weird, man, to be honest with you. And I knew it was weird when we kicked off the year with a major just tragedy that hit all of California. Really.
Yeah. There was a note I want to put out there while we're still on this topic. It says that Tyler Perry is working on a plan to reopen his studio in Atlanta, but according to TMZ, Tyler Perry is planning to reopen his studio, but with some new rules, saying that productions filmed at his faculty will have the cast and crew check in on the first day, at which Tyler Perry Studios will test everyone, and those who are found negative will be allowed on the lot, and they will live continue the duration of the film of a certain production. Considering the factory is a former Army base, there are 101 bakers on site. Also, Tyler Perry has built like houses of like for various productions and all that stuff. So he is now considering building hotels in his studio lot, so that cast and crew can use the faculties, including the gym, bars, and restaurants, build a hospital for a certain show and like all the other stuff. So, do you agree with that certain rule that Tyler Perry is putting out? When do productions try to film at his studio lot, and then should Warner Brothers Studios, Paramount Studios, and other studio backgrounds should take into this rule of having all cast and crew get tested before coming into work at the backstage studios?
I agree with it. However, and I mean this with the utmost respect, and I just got out of an hour and a half long rant that could easily went Tyler Perry and Taylor Swift. Check out Friday. But big thing with this is not whether or not he's going to try and get the paperwork Wrestling right now, I don't know how, got viewed essential. And because of that, and you said Atlanta, right?
Atlanta, yes.
Okay. So one of the major companies is shooting capturing a lot of footage in Georgia. So if they can get the right paperwork, I would not see a problem if people are getting tested. However, because of how much pressure, and I hate to say it, but there is some political pressure attached to it for this to be over as fast as possible for the economy, and everybody's going to abide almost to the T now, to where I'm surprised we're not on basically under lock and key to try and get this over with as fast as possible, to where I think it's not going to happen. The best case scenario is for not just the CDC, but the state to clear it. But just to clear them. However, they would have to clear so many other venues to have more than 50 people. So a lot of this is pending. And whether or not the paperwork can get signed is up to the government.
Yeah, but we'll have to see what the future holds for all major productions and studio major studios. What's gonna happen in towards the next year, and like how this pandemic is gonna continue to affect Hollywood in towards of like for not only for filmmakers and actors were like trying to get back to work and to love what we do. And moving on to our next topic. So after the success of Troy's World Tour, that with their streaming debut made a lot of money. So, based on a recent comment, AMC theaters have banned out all Universal movies, which includes the Jurassic Park franchise, the Fast and the Furious franchise, the Despicable Me franchise, and all other Universal movies. So, but I just got the news a few minutes ago. Not only AMC is going to ban Universal movies, but Regal Cinema Theaters is also banning Universal as well. So when I think about this, I think this just opened the doors to other theater chain companies and also bringing back drive-in movie theaters. But and I mentioned this a couple of times in my past episodes. We need drive-in movie theaters back at a time in this situation that we're in right now, in order to help movies to be able to get screened and see that particular movie that we want to see in theaters before they actually go into streaming or into video on demand. So with AMC and Regal banning Universal movies, so let me just read the statement as follows. So it was from NBC's Universal CEO. He said, "We are planning to release Universal movies theatrical and digital release." So that could mean that certain movies, depends on the budget, may go theatrical or go straight into streaming or video on demand. So my question for you is this: do you think for AMC and Regal, do you think that they made the right move of banning Universal movies?
Oh my gosh. So content that's already been shot, already been edited, and in the process of distribution can't even be shown on AMC on demand, can't be showed on Regal on demand, is what you're saying right now.
Yeah. So, and
that is just the utmost level of stupidity.
Yeah.
Because, like, at the end of the day, you're only movie theaters are only going to survive right now, and probably for the rest of this year, off of on demand, and you ban two of your biggest production companies that are producing, or let me rephrase that are distributing content in Universal and Regal Cinema. You ban them from even, and you don't even want any of their content coming your way. And yet, I do not think there's going to be a Marvel release this year. And there were two. I don't think there's going to be a Marvel release unless it's straight to streaming platforms. Well, outside of that, what other culturally major movie will there be in 2020?
Yeah, and the other question is that with AMC, Regal banning Universal movies, do you think this opens the door of bringing back drive-in movie theaters?
We'll see after the pandemic.
Hmm.
After all this is done, we'll see. Right now, because it's so weird, that would be the worst thing to do is to open up a drive-in movie theater right now. Regardless of if people are in their car or whatnot. I've been to some of them and they're like this, so tight to where it's less than 6 feet between car to car. And if you have the servers, like it's barely, like mainly enough feet between the cars for them to just escape through to feed you and to answer any requests. But it's still not enough space right now to open up a drive-in movie theater. I would wait at least 2-3 months after this pandemic.
So, other than that, let's move on to our next topic. So, yesterday we have found out the news that for next year's that the Academy have changed the rule of allowing streaming and on-demand movies are now being eligible for next year's Oscars 2021. So here is the following statement. Until further notice, and for the 93rd awards years only, films that were previously planned for theatrical release but are intentionally made available for a commercial streaming or video on demand service may qualify in the Best Picture general entry in specific categories for the 19th Academy Awards on these provisions. The film must be made available on the Security Academy Screening Rooms member only streaming sites within 60 days of the film streaming or video on demand release. The film must meet all the legitimate requirements. So, my opinion about this, like, we all knew that this was going to happen at some point. Like, look at last year. We had plenty of Netflix movies like The Irishman, Marriage Story get nominated for Best Picture, and we see a lot of not only Netflix movies but also Amazon Prime movies get nominated, whether it was for Netflix or for Golden Globes. So we knew this was coming at a certain point. So what are your thoughts on streaming and on video on demand movies being eligible for next year's Oscars?
Damage control.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, that's the only way the 2021 Oscars will have anything. Yes, you had stuff coming out in January and February. What about the rest of the year? You may have stuff and the theaters may be operational by November. You still have 8 months. If you don't include online content, you lose about a good 60-something% of what would have been the Oscars like stuff. Especially losing the summer blockbusters, you lose about half the Oscars right there. So yeah. The fact that it's going online is so perfect, but it is a major move. So the fact they announced it now seems like it is a bit in response to the coronavirus. Sorry, because I know you're going to get flagged for that. But getting budged and getting announced for that, rather than last year when the industry was moving toward it. But to say, oh, we're switching the format to online for this because of the way things are this year, well, we all know that's just a damage control and response to what is going on this year. Not, oh, like the industry is moving and a lot more successful releases are. So unless the statement was, we see where the industry is transitioning to, instead of, oh, we're just trying to save our butts, and because all content is online now versus on air. And when I say on air, I mean live content, because I have not seen a live show since like Kobe's funeral.
Yeah, and speaking while we're on the Oscars, there are certain leading contenders that that could be can fall in the best picture category. Like for example, Spike Lee is doing the Netflix film movie called The Five Bloods, which stars Chadwick Boseman, and it's about four Vietnam veterans return to Vietnam in research of the fallen squad leaders and probably buried treasure. And another one called, and let's see what else. The French, the Hillbilly Egonago, I can't pronounce that, but it's directed by Ron Howard, and it stars Amy Adams and Glenn Close in that movie. So, and another one, so yeah, where is, I'm looking at the list right here. So, yeah, those were like the leading contenders into getting on the best picture in the best picture category. There's plenty other strong contenders in there. So, and even though that Tenet hasn't come out yet, well, we don't know if it's still going to be coming out in theaters, but that's still in the leading contenders of being in the best picture category. But we'll talk about that soon in the next topic or so. But like most of these contenders of these lists of possible and prediction best picture nomination category, all these movies comes out in the fall season, because most of the times when you look at movies that would be nominated in the Oscars, most of the movies come out in the summer or like in the fall season. So I'll share that that link with you so you can check it out. So
I will see that, and
yeah,
goes back to one thing I've been thinking for the longest, and why I had this long conversation with my boss. Are we? Thank you. I will be checking that later. But are we going to get slammed, or is it just going to be dead for the next, like, golly, I don't even know anymore. Would you say it's going to be a dead zone for the rest of 2020? Or are we about to feel so much work to where you can't produce your own content, I can't produce my own content on my own, and that's simply due to the amount of work that everybody is about to get?
Yeah. So other than that, moving on to our last topic of the day. So with most of the times, us filmmakers, we get so excited into what's coming out and like what movies coming out in the summer. But for this year, we only have at best with so many movies being delayed to next year or like canceled or like trying to find a release date. we only have four movies coming out this summer, which includes Tenet,
Shoot.
but Mulan, the new SpongeBob movie, and Wonder Woman 1984. The question for that is that are those movies are going to be able to shown in theaters? Because let me also point this out. The theater company says we're not opening our theaters and we're not going to show anything until new movies come out, in which Tenet and Mulan comes out in the month of July. So my question for you is this: do you think those full movies will survive and come out in their respective dates of this year, or you think it will get delayed once again?
Does it matter either streaming or theater? Streaming release or theater release?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's up to the studios. It's decision of whether to do a theatrical release or a streaming release. So, if you think about it, Tenet, in which of course most of the people get excited for Christopher Nolan's film. That, like I mentioned before in my past episodes, Tenet and Christopher Nolan's films, that's like one of those movies that you have to see in the movie theaters before actually going into streaming or VOD. And same thing for Mulan. Like, even though that might be a hit or miss, but Mulan is like one of those type of movies that you based on the trailers and the behind the scenes, that's one of those movies you had to see in theaters before that. Same thing for Wonder Woman 1984. We want to see that in the theaters before going out to streaming, because Warner Brothers and DC mentioned that we are not gonna put Wonder Woman into streaming just yet. They was planning on it when they had that when they had their private confirmation stuff like that, but they said they're not gonna say anything public about it.
They might not have a choice, and let me explain why. At the end of the day, it's either push it back till after the pandemic, which we don't know that day, if they don't want to set release, or go straight to streaming, control the narrative, and have a set release and not push back your film any further. Because I believe all of these have already been pushed back once. Am I right?
Yeah, they was pushed back once, yes.
So instead of pushing them back again, either release some CDC pending, and I would make that decision a month out if it was me, but I am not the producers of any of those films. And so this is one of those things you have to decide within a month before release. So by June, we'll know streaming and just make ad revenue from that movie, those movies, or other than that, it has to be either streaming and straight to DVD, or push back indefinitely till after the pandemic. Because, and this is what I was told yesterday, we won't be able to have, because my stuff holds about 50, max capacity of like 50, 60 people. So that's one theater, one taping, one showing throughout an entire theater. So imagine that in July, August, and you can only have like one taping with 60 people. That's barely enough with the employees. Just a theater's employees hit 60. So it's that, and this is just Southern California. So amplify that by having, and this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, you have to consider background. So the cast, the crew, the personnel, and then you consider how many guests. And if you've already hit 60 plus, just like how many employees and how how much personal hall you have at every theater, then you shouldn't be showing a movie, period, in-house. So the only option to me for them not to do streaming, not to confirm streaming, is like you're gonna have to wait it out till 2021 like everybody else, and have something simply how 2K is doing right now, have something in the meantime that people can sink their teeth in, and like, okay, they haven't forgot us. However, we understand the crapshoot hand we're dealt with. And for those that don't know what I'm referring to when it comes to 2K, they're developers, visual concepts. Okay, content creators suck at wrestling games, though. So what they decided to do was go with the NBA Playgrounds format for this year's game and cease production, like not release a yearly simulation-based game. First time since 2000 and when's the last time they haven't released a simulation-based game?
It's been a while. I know it's been a while.
Yeah, I know it's been longer since even when they switched from SmackDown to SVR to the straight up just WWE to WWE to 2K.
Yeah,
It's been consistent since like the 90s. This is the first year without a main game in the series, especially for PlayStation users, since the 90s. So that alone tells you how insane production is. And I'm sorry to segue into a gaming when I know you wanted to talk about the film industry, but it just made sense because of how much production on value and what people are wanting versus what we can stretch. So keep them wanting versus keep them invested in your product. Like even if somebody can animate a Wonder Woman cartoon that could get released in a couple months, like do that. Like I would say 30-minute Wonder Woman short for a July release. Like produce that rather than trying to force theater releases. And then as the end credits are rolling, that's when you announce the new date for 1984.
Yeah, and while we still on the gaming, when WWE 2K announced Battleground, that felt like a sequel to WWE All Stars, which was another arcade game. And speaking of NBA 2K, we still don't know if we're gonna get 2K21 yet. Yeah, we still don't know.
NBA 2K21.
Yeah, we don't still know the status on that too, because when you think about it, like video games, that's just like a production too, and it takes time to like get the animations right, get the controls right, or like give like a certain story right, and like the voice at like certain commentators or certain like play-by-plays and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that also takes time too, and for other video games. So that may get other video games might get delayed too. Like at a certain point, like what else can you do?
It depends, and more so for the sports games. So Madden 2K, NBA Live, and FIFA. I don't think they happen this year. I don't think there will be a 21 of anything, for the simple fact, you have to scan all these athletes. There is a reason why NXT is about to crown an interim cruiserweight champion, and the NXT tag team titles might as well be under the same jurisdiction right now because of they can't fly people from other countries back and forth to get them there. And why? And I hate to even pin this on them, but they knew it. and I understand it. The reason Rhea Ripley lost was her work visa. So all this in production to get your actors and get your key players out there is going to have to wait until the end of this. You could try and get them their work, try and get them to go to their home country to get their work visa. You might not get them back. Anyway, so what are you going to do? Just have them sit at home? Have them sit where you have them in the middle of production? Because if people are losing work visas, they can't work for nothing. And within the NBA, within the NFL, within the UFC, and within the MLS, international players need work visas, even to get their likeness scanned. Can they do that right now? Nope.
Yeah. So, other than that, moving on to our last topic of the day. So, we already mentioned that summer movies of this year's is practically get canceled, and we only got 4 movies. So, let's move forward into what summer movies of 2021 look like. Now, for these movies, some of them was supposed to come out this year, but got delayed to next year. So we're gonna go strive into that and what the status of each of those movies. So we go straight into May. So starting off yeah, on May 7th, Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness was supposed to come out that day, but it got switched. So now Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is supposed to will now come out on that day. But the only problem is it has not finished production. So with that in mind, do you think it will continue? It will finish the process by next year and meet its theatrical date?
Oh, this is going to be so... Like, things are going to be funny until next fall. Fall 2021. And you just said the reason why. And that is whether or not stuff from this production season was in post, in pre-production, or was it in post-production? If it was in pre or in production, they're at the mercy of when people can start acting, can be mobile again. Once people can start being mobile again, then we're back to business and relative business and can get work in. But until then, unless you were in post-production, so unless you were editing, creating your CGI, creating your special effects for any of those movies, you ain't moving a muscle. You're not progressing. And how would I know this? I have already talked with my producer for another project I'm working on right now. And she and I legit said, like, we can't even fundraise right now because we need to shoot the stuff for that, but we can't do that until this is over. And if stuff's not over by September, October, then enough said.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, I looked at the behind the scenes of Shang-Chi, and it was looking good. So I'm gonna be.
The production wasn't on.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a behind the scenes of where when the actor playing Shang-Chi was on the motorcycle and it was riding around through China. So I'm gonna find the link to that behind the scenes so you can check that out. And all right. Other than that, moving on to our next one. So May.
Wait. I thought you got the last. That was the last topic.
Yeah, that is the last topic. We're going on what the summer movies of 2020 2021 are looking like, and what's the status of.
Okay.
Yeah. So May 14th, we have Spirit Riding Free. So that's based of the Netflix series. I don't know if you ever heard of it, called Spirit. The Spirit, the horse. Yeah, so it's based off that. So May 21st. So this is a big one. So John Wick 4 is supposed to come out on that day, but it haven't even started filming yet because Keanu Reeves is still doing production for the Matrix 4. That I might add is supposed to come out on that same date, May 21st, and that hasn't finished filming yet. So once Keanu Reeves finished The Matrix 4, then he can go into doing John Wick 4. So what are your thoughts on that one?
My thought again, yes, and you just said it, I just said it. What phase of production are they on? And yes, I know I'm going to get memed for this. I don't care. But what phase of production are they on? If they're not in post, I do not see any of them getting done on schedule unless they cram and overly exhaust.
Yeah. What I mean is
they're in post-production right now as I am talking.
Yeah.
If they are not, then I don't care.
Yeah. When I put out saying that they haven't finished production, which means that they still in production status, and it means that they got hold, that the production got stopped.
They were still in the process of filming at the time of pandemic.
Yeah. And when I say finished filming, that means they finished production and now they are in post. They are in post.
Yeah, now they're editing it, and it's just, yeah, the edit perfectly done, and yeah. But unless they're there, I'll save you the time right now and just say no to anything that, unless it's known through IMDb Pro right now and it says it right there. Oh, we're in post-production. I could see it happening because you could work on it from your in-home studio. But if you can't do that from your house, and work visas expiring, I guarantee you it's happening right now, are expiring right now. Freaking productions are needing to renew space because not all space, like with the production process, you reserve it for a set time frame. And unfortunately, for a lot of these TV shows, they try to cram it in there before they lost it. But for the spring quarter, but for the summer and the fall, they lost their production space. Summer for sure, possibly the fall for all TV.
Yeah.
And with that being said, when it comes to film, those production spaces, unless it was a privately owned production soundstage for that team, production team, you ain't shooting. You might as well take your butt home.
Yeah. So continue on. So on May 28th, we're supposed to get Disney's live action remake of the 101 Dalmatians, but entitled Cruella, which stars Emma Stone playing the role. So that finished production and that's in post. Another film called Infinity, which is directed by the director from Training Day, Antonio Fargas, and it stars Mark Wahlberg. That finished production and that's in post right now. And going into June, on June 11th, we have Jurassic World Domination, but that has not finished production yet. So
Jurassic World's a no, and the other two are yeses.
Yeah, and yeah, and then June 18th, In the Heights, which is a Disney flick, that was supposed to come out this year. It goes competing against the West Side Story film, but that got moved to July 18th here, and that finished production. And on June 25th, The Batman was supposed to come out on that date, but that got moved to October. And Venom 2 had taken that release date, and that one finished production, and that was supposed to come out this year in October, but we never got a teaser trailer or anything. They just say, "Oh, we're moving this to next year," and all that stuff. Yeah, and moving on July 2nd, we're supposed to get the Minions 2, and that replaced Scene 2, and then also on that same date, we're getting Jackass 4. Jackass 4. Yeah, which is
Are you serious? They're still making those?
yeah,
What the heck?
yeah, yeah,
After people don't die doing that show.
yeah.
After people die doing that genre. And we're in a worldwide pandemic right now, and they're still going to release that level of stupidity.
I know the last Jackass film they did was Bad Grandpa. The last Jackass film they did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, if you think about it, when it comes to like the those Jackass films, like they don't really need like a large production crew. All they need is just a small crew, and they good.
They just need a multi-cam setup and maybe 3 people.
Yeah, exactly.
3 like talent. Here, yeah, multi-cam and a sound guy.
Yeah, that's all they need. So they should be good to meet their release date.
No, it's so bad.
And if they want, they can just put masks on it and then like do their normal routine.
No. That's the worst thing they could do. That's the worst thing they could do. Because you release a film for idiots. I'm sorry, but that show was just for idiots. And you're releasing it and giving them ammo of a coronavirus.
Oh my God.
You know there's going to be some jokes about that in that movie that are going to be dumb with poor taste, which is what that show, that series, and that genre from MTV 2000 is known for.
Oh my!
And you mean to tell me that movie's scheduled to come out? Idiots.
Well,
MTV, everybody.
Well, that's Paramount's and MTV's decision on whether they should change their date or something like that. So that's their decision.
Change the freaking script.
That's their decision.
Like, I'm not knocking the date. I'm knocking the film. I'm knocking the script. I'm knocking the production team. Because I already know where this is going to go. And this is going to be done so cringeworthy. Like, it's just going to be so bad. It's going to be bad.
Yeah. Other than that, moving on July 16th, we're supposed to get Space Jam 2. And that finished production, which I'm surprised. But I still think post will take a heck of a long time to try to get all the animation, everything together.
Give that from the time it needs. To respect Michael's legacy after Kobe passing, granted, LeBron is supposed to be the new proxy for Michael, but still, give that movie the time it deserves for the edit rather than letting it try and get under this crunch just because, like, a production company wants a film out this year. If that is how that is, like, there's LeBron's legacy right there, and it pisses on the goodwill of Spaceship, the first one.
I mean, if you think about it, LeBron got his own production company. So if you think about it, once he retires, he has something like to work off of, like when he retires.
But would you want it to honor the source material and the original, or do you want it to just be a piece of garbage? I.e. the Charmed remake.
Hey, the very first Space Jam will always be my favorite, and I would choose that over the sequel, honestly. But I am willing to check out Space Jam 2 if it's even worth in the same league as the first one. I'm still gonna see it, which like a normal filmmaker and fan would do. So I would still go.
that's the thing. You're gonna try and see it as a fan and as a filmmaker. You can't do those at the same time. I'm sorry. I've done that with too many movies. I can't do that at the same time. I have to watch it film brain or fan brain.
No, like not like try to do both at the same time. That's crazy. Like I would try to see like for the first time and then try to see it the second time to try to give my honest opinion and review on it.
Well, we'll see. I
Yeah.
liked it, the idea, and we'll see.
And but still on the July 16th day, Uncharted is supposed to come out. I don't think they will meet their release date because production hasn't started, and Sony is high on Tom Holland right now. And when production start, and when production start filming again, Sony is going to be focused on doing Spider-Man 3 first, then do Uncharted. And when it comes to Tom Holland, because Tom Holland, not only he's Spider-Man, but he's also going to play Nathan Drake in Uncharted.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's Nathan Drake, and Mark Wahlberg is going to be Sullivan.
Mark Wahlberg is Sonny. This is gonna be hilarious. Mark Wahlberg is Sonny. Yeah. But here's the thing. That's Sully, excuse me. But Tom Holland is in the UK right now. And I'm assuming Uncharted's gonna be filmed in like what, Egypt?
Something like that.
Yeah. So you mean to tell me US we're going to be everything is pending on pandemic, and you're willing to stretch US jurisdiction, US like holding with Sony and Wahlberg. You have UK jurisdictions and health and safety, and then you have Egyptian health and safety. You think all this is going to be done in time to get cast, crew, and production on that set in time to film that bad boy. And then with a movie that I honestly think, after playing the game, is it going to be which one is it going to be based off of? All four, or just the first, like, one or two?
I'm pretty sure the first one, because if Tom Holland's going to be Nathan Drake, then it's probably going to be based on when he was like in his younger age.
Okay, so the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That anyway was a lot of Lauren Croft as platform and wall jumping. So to do that, you're gonna have to have all health and safety like available. Are you going to have the stunt crew and all that available, indoor or outdoor? And obviously, to control a lot of that, it's gonna have to be indoor. You're not gonna have that many people available in this summer. I hate to say it, but by the looks of things, nobody's gonna be available till the fall. So yeah. Do I see that happening? No. And then you said the other one was Spidey, I believe?
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Is the entire casting crew associated with that UK base? Or is it all US based?
I think it's your US base. But there was a couple of times.
Oh yeah, MJ. So yeah, it's US and UK. Once again, you're waiting on multiple countries to clear and get the all clear. Not happening like anytime soon. So those movies, to go back to my original point, if they did not start production, no, let me rephrase that. If they did not complete production before March 1st, nothing. So I do not care what time of year, you are going to have to, as a producer, as a filmmaker, as an actor, as a director, reset everything, re-reserve everything in accordance with when all countries are out of the situation we are in now. And I apologize for coming off confrontational, acting like a certain Morad, but if it is not what is already done, you have to basically make sure cast, make sure crew, make sure everybody are safe and projected, regardless of getting there to a location and a production. If they are not, then you have no say in the matter.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. Like, we all have to focus on not only the cast's sake, but also the crew's sake. In regards to like not what is it? Filming outside, filming inside of a backlot studio. Like it really doesn't matter, because you have to focus on the safety of all aspects of where you're going to be going. So I completely agree with what you're saying. So, but it's really up to, like I mentioned before, it's really up to the studio executive decision of when production is going to start resuming again. So we had the focus on cast and crew safety at all times. But yeah, other than that, moving on into July 23rd, the Tomorrow Award, so that was stars Chris Pratt, will be coming out on that date. It originally was supposed to come out on this year Christmas Day, but Tom Cruise's what's that other his movie, damn, it's on the tip of my tongue, hold up, it's in my head. Let me think about it. That movie. Second to think about it. Top Gun. Yeah. Top Gun.
Top Gun.
Yeah. So now.
We already.
Yeah, it's
so
on that Christmas Day.
Touched on Top Gun specifically with All About Millennials.
Yeah.
And that one is virtually not going to be out this year. Like Tom Cruise has already confirmed, like that one is coming out like late, like we're talking Christmas essentially for that bad boy. Which unfortunately I wish it was closer than Christmas, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So other than that, Jungle Cruise was supposed to come out this year in July 24th, but that got moved to July 30th of next year, and that finished the production. And also the Tomorrow War, like I mentioned, that finished production. That's in post. And then last one, of August 6th of next year, the Suicide Squad, that finished production. And currently, James Gunn is at home, currently editing the film right now, at his home right now, editing the film.
Okay, that might not go so well because of, and stay tuned for Friday. And I am sorry, I'm probably mine like crazy on yours and segue into that. But this man, after everything he's done did, and you expect, granted, Zoe Saldana, freaking Dave Bautista, Chris Pratt, Bradley Cooper have all vouched for him. However, do you really want to attach, after everything, the first thing you want to do, go see a James Gunn movie? And especially the follow-up, the one that really kind of had mixed reviews in the theater, in the movies.
Yeah. So other than that, coming out on that same day as Suicide Squad was Hotel Transylvania 4. That's supposed to come out on that same date as well.
What phase? for that one, you know?
I don't know the status on that one because that one is an animated film. That they didn't say what's the status on that, but yeah. Other than that, so I am sending you the link, a picture of all the movies that's come out in the next year's summertime, and just give your honest opinion on if these movies are actually going to come out on that in that year or next year. So those.
And
Yeah.
is it going to have what phase of production on it?
Yeah. So yeah.
Because if it does not have that, then I could say whatever.
Yeah. So.
But
yeah. So if you want to check out what phase of production it was on before, just go to Movie Insider. It'll tell you like what status they're on. Movie Insider.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, everyone, that was our topics for today.
I'm gonna look this up later.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So that was our topics that we talked about today. So let me know in the comments below what is your opinion and thoughts to the topics that we discussed today, and just let us know in the comment section. Do you agree with everything that we discussed today? What is your opinion? What are your thoughts about it? And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell when new episodes are uploaded. And don't forget, and don't forget to follow Donaze podcast show. He'll be having new episodes uploaded on Fridays, and don't forget to check that out. And other than that, Donaze, thank you for coming on and stating your opinion and thoughts. We all in the same booth and what's going on, and we'll just have to see what news and updates they're gonna come out in the next following months.
All right, man. It's been real. Thanks for having me.
All right. Other than that, he's Donaze, and I'm Trico, and we're signing off.
TTFN, guys. Adios. All
right.